Good evening, everybody. You're very welcome along to the Digital Motorsports Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61 and by iRacing, of course. Fantastic to be back with you once again, and a track that we've been really looking forward to. This is Virginia International Raceway. You don't see this track on calendars too often, but my God, it is one hell of a track we've got around here. The American Nürburgring. I've heard it being called before. So, of course, my name is Jack Cannan. Sam Fitzpatrick joining me alongside in the box, of course, as always. Sam, I mean, this is an incredibly challenging circuit, especially in these fast Indy Pro 2000 drivers. The drivers have really got their work cut out today.
It really is, as you were saying before. It's a circuit that we don't visit at all often on iRacing, so the drivers won't be familiar with it in the slightest, unlike, of course, Laguna Seca that we visited a couple of weeks ago. And it's tricky to overtake around this place. You've got elevation change. It's incredibly narrow. It's just a ribbon going through the hills of Virginia. So it's one of the most tricky circuits on iRacing, and really going to expose the driver's skill out there. It's no luck around this place. You've got to really put the effort in the week prior in order to be up to pace.
Exactly. Now, of course, we'll cut to the chase as well. There is a giveaway happening until the 19th of August. Next Level Racing and Digital Motorsports are giving away an FGT Lite and an FGT Cockpit, both sim rigs that we are giving away. And you can check out the giveaway in the link in the description if you're watching it on Apex Racing TV. If they're watching on the iRacing Esports Network, the link will be dropped into the chat for you. So do get yourself in with a chance of winning a brand new sim rig thanks to the sponsors, Next Level Racing. So get yourselves involved in that one. It's a fantastic prize. Two wonderful sim rigs up for grabs. And we're currently just in qualifying at the moment. And the big story of the week was, of course, Peter Dempsey, second in the championship, dropping out because of his commitments to the real championship. He is team principal of Turn 3 Motorsport. But his brother, right here, Keith Dempsey, who we look at, Turn 3 Motorsport driver here in the virtual sense, he leads the championship now by a margin of 40 points. But Rob Moore now sits in that second place, really, with Peter Dempsey being dropped out. Peter Dempsey still sits second on 180 points. But definitely Rob Moore could certainly jump him today, but to keep Dempsey comfortably out in front in that championship, but everyone quite close to him behind. But he's currently on that provisional pole. There is Rob Moore, currently provisionally second in the championship. He might be able to jump ahead of Peter Dempsey today if he gets a good result. Had a great run out last time. Oisin Walsh, Oscar Mangan, plenty of people who really didn't get a result last time out because 2 weeks ago there was a lot of chaos, a lot of championship runners in Laguna Seca ending up in the wall. And there was plenty of drivers angry with each other. But we're back again once again. Hopefully they've all sorted that out. But Rob Moore definitely going to be one to watch to keep himself up in the second of the standings. But Keith Dempsey. Now, let's ride on board here, Sam, because this is an incredibly fun section in these cars.
It is probably the best part of the lap, and these cars have such a high downforce to power ratio. You can go easy flat out through the air, so it's barely a lift through the left-hander, and then just really dive it in deep for the first right, then past the oak tree, which unfortunately I don't believe is in real life anymore. I think they just had to cut it down. You can see it's a bit of a safety hazard, but on sim racing, it's no problem for these drivers. And then this kind of curve straight, possibly the best overtaking chance on the track, but then you go into this completely blind crest. So tricky. You're going to lock up the front right almost every single time into this next corner. And then you can start to unwind. These last couple of corners, you can get them wrong, but if you can really commit to it, you can get it very right as well. Just get really up to the limit through the first right, and then we go back onto the pit straight. I mean, if you get your head around this pace, if you're comfortable with this pace, it can be a whole lot of fun. But certainly for newcomers, it's a real pain.
So that was a lap good enough to put Rob Moore 6th on the grid at the moment. So Keith Dempsey at the moment, unless anybody else improves, he is going to secure pole position for the heat race. Oisin Walsh, P2. So it looks like Keith is actually on another lap. We'll wait and see. But Oisin Walsh, second. Brian McManus in third. Dave Maguire gone really well in fourth place. And Jason Cooper, Michael Devaney, who was completely robbed of a victory in Laguna Seca. Rob Moore, 7th. Jordan Kelly in 8th. Now, he himself and Rob Moore are actually battling for that second place in the title. There's a point between them. Jordan Kelly, of course, a winner in Daytona. So He's got a win under his belt. Rob Moore has not. He's been consistently up there. Tony Stack 9th. Peter McCann inside the top 10. Nicky Meredith, RAC Mantis, Richard Faulkner, Lawrence Dressoswell, Valentinas Marchenkovas, Rob Barble, and Oscar Mangan. Has he set a time yet, or is he not bothering to come out for qualifying? Where is Oscar Mangan? There he is. He's about to round the last corner now. There you go. Keith Dempsey 141.3, actually improving that lap. Jordan Kelly pops to 3rd. What does Oscar Mangan do? He had a torrid time out in Laguna Seca and in Phoenix. Where is this man going to go? He crosses the line. Does he pop up any further than a 17th? Yes, he does. 3rd place. Just ahead of Jordan Kelly, but Oisin Walsh improving to a 141.575. So Keith Dempsey by 0.2 of a second. He's going to secure that pole. Oisin Walsh alongside him on the front row. Oscar Mangan pops in there into 3rd place. Jordan Kelly 4th and Brian McManus in 5th place. Now remember Laguna Seca. We remember that Keith Dempsey and Oscar Mangan collided with each other on lap 1, and as well, Oisin Walsh taken out at the corkscrew, and Jordan Kelly drove through the chaos to win that heat. Brian McManus ended up with suspension damage. Nicky Meredith popping in there with a nice lap in 141.89, just behind McManus. So basically, the top 4 that are qualified today all ended up in the wall on lap 1 and 2 in Laguna Seca. So we'll have to just hang out and hope that they don't end up in the wall. But yeah, certainly came to blows last time. And Sam, that first hairpin, it's very tight, and 3 cars are definitely not going to go in there in one.
No, I think last time out at Laguna Seca, it was a bit of a weird one. I think Dempsey took the lead in the first couple of corners, and then kind of turning quite early for the next corner, or maybe it was the other way around. I think it may have been Mangan. He was just ahead going into turn 2 at Laguna Seca. Turned in kind of early, but then at the same time Dempsey came in a little bit deep just behind. They managed to take each other out. It was very strange for them to be both so aggressive so early on in the event. I think they'll be just as aggressive today, to be honest, because they'll want to put one over one another. There goes Shane Rabbit up into 16th place. But yeah, that's that first corner, long stretch to the first corner as well. And if you go wide there, you're off into West Virginia, frankly, because the grass is so slippery with this new tyre model. It's always been slippery, but particularly now it's so tricky, and you're just going to be skating away from the circuit. So you've got to keep it within the track confines, but I can pretty much guarantee with how narrow this circuit is, we're going to see a few drivers go off the circuit and leave themselves with a lot to do after the first lap.
Wonder if any of them listening to Country Roads get themselves riled up for this one. Heading down to West Virginia, Country Roads, take me home. Valentinas Marchenkovas now. He's in the middle sectors coming up this brilliant S section up the hill. He's one of the last drivers that will be able to settle up. I don't think he's actually going to make it to the finish. There's about 15 seconds left on the clock before we head to heat race number 1. And remember as well that there will be a reverse grid for the feature as always. So keep your eyes peeled out for that. So the driver in first will start down. It depends on the grid size, so we'll keep an eye out for that as well. But qualifying is done. Dempsey and Walsh, Mangan and McManus on the first 2 rows of the grid. Nicky Meredith did a nice job in there. And then Jordan Kelly, Dave Maguire, Jason Cooper, Michael Devaney, and Rob Moore in 10th. Tony Stack in 11th. Valentinas Marchenkovas, P12. And then further down the order will be, we wait for the grid graphic to get to us, with Peter McCann, Rob Barwell, Richard Faulkner, Shane Rabbit, Arias Mantis, Lawrence Dressoswell at the very back, Dara Daly. Quite a low turnout compared to other rounds, but just under 20 drivers going around. Hopefully they'll be able to all survive the first lap around Virginia. This is, of course, the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing and associated as well with Driver 61 and iRacing. Make sure to get yourself involved in that giveaway of the Next Level Racing cockpits sim rigs. The link is in the chat on the iRacing Esports Network and in the description on Apex Racing TV. So get yourselves involved in that. That draw will close on the 19th of August, and the draw will be made on the 20th of August. So the draw closes on the 6th round of this championship. So we'll just wait around for that. But now we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up, and possibly Dempsey and Walsh starting to take a little leaf out of Mangan's book, because those 3, actually Tony Stack as well, they're now the last to get on the grid. So Mangan, I think, has started a trend here. He always seems to be the last one to ready up, but there's definitely people starting to take notice of this now. the top 15, it seems to be, will be reversed for the feature race. So the driver in 15th place will have the reverse grid pole. So that's a key battle to watch as well. Everybody is waiting on the grid now. We're ready to go here in Virginia for this round. Heat number 1 in Virginia. Here we go. Red lights are on. Keith Dempsey on pole. Oisin Walsh next to him. Away we go. And it's a good start from Dempsey and Mangan as well. Mangan surged through. Oisin Walsh has had a terrible start as they head towards turn 1, dropping down the order like a stone. It's Dempsey from Mangan from McManus. Nicky Meredith up the inside. Dempsey has the whole shot into turn 1. Mangan second. McManus left that to dry a little bit there as Nicky Meredith tries to pop up the inside as they go through turn 1. All looking good so far for everybody. Oisin Walsh just did not get off the line there. Side by side between McManus and Meredith here. Meredith round the outside through turn 3. Can he stick that up the inside again? McManus still alongside as they come through. Great little battle going on between these guys. Meredith just nips in front there. McManus. Devaney's had a good start. Walsh down to 6th place after that first lap. He just did not get off the line. McManus still trying to find his way through. Diving left, right. He's trying to find his space to get past Meredith here. And now here comes Michael Devaney as well as they come down through the S's right here, side by side as well. McManus is up the inside. There's going to be contact again. That was always going to happen. McManus and Meredith off the road. And it's a mirror image of Laguna Seca, lap number 1, 2 cars in the wall. That was never going to work there, and they've are now going to be out of this race and possibly out of contention even in the reverse grid race, Sam.
I mean, was it worth it? Was it worth it, really, to go side by side through the S's? It would have been spectacular, and it is pretty much a straight in these cars. But I say it again, it is so narrow, and they collide, they tangle. Like at Devaney, he's up 6 places already as Devaney. He might be down 1 though very soon because Oisin Walsh is right on his tail, and right away Jordan Kelly catches up to these guys. But yeah, that was a bit of an unnecessary battle from McManus and Meredith, and it's really allowed the top 2 to pull away. It's quite a gap at the moment between the top 3 drivers. Oh, as off the circuit goes Richard Faulkner into the wall. We've got big runoff areas around this place, but not big enough runoff areas, and he he knocks a couple of wheels off his machine. Devaney having to go defensive again, and this is just going to extend this train. There's a decent amount of slipstream, it seems, out there available for the drivers. Here comes Kelly, double time race winner already this season. Of course, most notably at the oval round we had at Phoenix, and that's a brilliant move there from Oisin Walsh to get back ahead of Michael Devaney. He does seem to be a little bit slower than these guys. Great start for Devaney. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to keep up these places much longer.
Yeah, Kelly just trying to make his way through here. Michael Devaney trying to hang him back. Oisin Walsh already building the gap, and Keith Dempsey's just checked out front, 2 seconds clear of Mangan already. Now up through the S's, this is spectacular stuff, trying to follow a car as well. Not easy, having to get out of the throttle constantly. Down a gear, through the left, a lot of speed car from Devaney, and that's going to leave him on the grass. And now Kelly to the outside on board with Jason Cooper. He's getting a front row seat for the action right here through the tyre section. Now long straight, and this is going to be a slipstream for him. This could go 3 wide into the blind crest, and that might not end well for these guys. Rob Moore is right on the tail as well of Jason Cooper. Now up the hill as they come. Let's see if Kelly can at least get past Devaney here as they come cresting over the top right here. Jason Cooper with a massive run. He's not going to go 3 wide there. He knows it won't work, and Jordan Kelly is just going to slot in front of Michael Devaney right there, and I think that was smart driving from Jason Cooper. You do not want to make it 3 wide into a blind corner.
No, there was physically no room at all for him there. Would have had to dip a couple of wheels onto the grass, and he stays behind. But I think this one should come to Cooper eventually. Just needs to make sure that that he gets past Devaney pretty quickly now. Otherwise, Kelly could potentially pull away. But I do want to see a replay, maybe after the meeting today of Devaney's start, because that was spectacular how he managed to gain 6 places on the opening lap. Yeah, he is gradually dropping back at the moment. We've still got 17 drivers running. It seems like Richard Faulkner managed to get back out on circuit. He is about to go a lap down, however, but he's in 17th place. But glad that he must have got so back to the pits and get some new tyres on that car. Use his faster tire.
Mangan just took a little bit of time out of Keith Dempsey that time. Fast lap of the race from Mangan, but only a 10th between them. Keith Dempsey always very good at building a gap really early on, smashing in the lap times and building the gap so much that he can't get it back down again. But Mangan having a much better day at the moment in 2nd place, 2 seconds off the back of Keith. And this is the battle we kind of wanted to see, was between Mangan and Dempsey, but we saw it last week and it ended in tears, so hopefully they managed to keep it together. 1.9 off the back as well, not too far off the back of Mangan is Oisin Walsh. He's recovered well after that very poor start and dropping down the order early on. But yeah, we now look at Keith Dempsey, who's just chasing after Brian McManus, who's about to go a lap down, of course. In the background, 2 cars side by side. Jordan Kelly is going to lose the place back again to Michael Devaney, who's not giving this up without a fight round the outside into the blind. Crest is going to be a little bit of net code came in there, and Jordan Kelly on the receiving end, unfortunately, has to take to the grass. Does a bit of grass cutting. He should be okay, but he's going to emerge right in the middle of this fight right here with Dave McGuire, Tony Stack, Arias Imantas, Valentinos Marchenkovic. But Jordan Kelly, I mean, a totally innocent party right there. Definitely a little bit of, definitely looked like net code. And oh Lord God, here we go, 3 abreast down towards turn 1. Michael Devaney in the middle, Jason Cooper on the inside, Rob Moore on the outside line. Who's going to come out on top here? Devaney later on the brakes. Cooper has the space though, and he's going to prise the door open, and Rob Moore goes straight through as well. They managed to make that work somehow. It's always scary watching cars go 3 abreast right here, but Michael Devaney not giving it up though, sticks it back up the inside into turn 2, but Moore is ahead. But poor old Jordan Kelly got definitely hung out to dry there.
Yeah, that was a huge bit of net code for Kelly. There was a good 3 foot between the 2 cars, but he's now right in the thick of the action. All off the circuit is Imantas. He was saying just before this race, this place is harder than the Nürburgring, which I probably agree with him. Nürburgring, you can pretty much and just drive that circuit, not necessarily race it, but to drive it, it's kind of alright. This place, to get the most out of the car, it's very tricky, as we are seeing Kelly struggle here, and he goes off the circuit. We saw that same mistake from Devaney earlier on, of course, who has towed back to the pits, and well, you can see for yourself that car is not how it's meant to look. Such a shame for Devaney. Spectacular start, one of the starts of the season, but he just didn't have the pace to keep those positions, and now something else has happened to him. Meanwhile, Rob Moore has gained a place back on Jason Cooper. In fact, he's up 5 places now, is Rob Moore. 4 seconds up to Oisin Walsh. I doubt that's going to happen, but still, good run for the Privateer at the moment.
Yeah. Really good. Let's have a look at what happened to Michael Devaney here. He's behind Rob Moore, just outbraked himself onto the grass and bang into the tyre wall. And that was a really small error, but that cost him. And he had to go wide at the one piece of the track where there isn't any runoff, and that it just claimed the victim right there. But now we're going back to this battle right here. Dave McGuire is running well in 6th place. Tony Stack behind him. And Valentinos Marchenkovic was also on the tail of that one as well. Car off the road, Jason Cooper off the road up ahead as he was fighting with Rob Moore. Now that's going to bring him right into the clutches of Dave McGuire, who's trying to vie for a top 5 finish in this opening heat race. And plenty of action once again, with Cooper dropping back a little bit now as we're halfway through this heat race as well. Remember, the top 15 are inverted. So the driver in P15 at the moment is Dara Daly, and he will take that reverse grid pole. We look now at Rob Barble, who's under severe pressure from Arias Imantas and Peter McCann as they go 3 down the hill right now. Peter McCann a little wheel onto the grass, and Imantas trying to find a way through past Barble here. No way through, but now heading onto this long back straight. You just see a glimpse of Shane Rabbit, Lawrence Hoswell, Imantas already alongside as they head down towards the blind crest up here. Imantas is going to try get himself in front before the braking zone. That's what you need to do as they come still side by side, coming through up ahead as well. And Tony Stack is trying to put pressure on Marchenkovic as well. But now Imantas, can he get it done? No, Barable just holds on right there and late into the braking zone. The Imantas gets the run on him round the outside, and beautiful stuff from him right there. Forced him a little bit wide and through he went. Dara Daly, who was sitting in the 15th place, is now out, and I wonder what has happened up front, because Keith Dempsey, what a lap, pulled a second out of Mangan that time. I wonder that it's lap traffic that are currently in there, but Dempsey opening the gap now to Mangan, just getting past McManus right there, and still now we wait to see who's going to be on that reverse grid pole. Currently it's going to be, should be Nicky Meredith once he crosses the line. Interesting to see Nicky Meredith when he gets through. But oh, Rob Barble, oh no, he was running really well, but seems to have lost it on the back section. That's turn 1, actually, turn 1, yeah, turn 1, as he came through right there. But unfortunately for him, That's dropped into 14th. But if you can hang in there, that will be P2 on the grid for the reverse grid. So, of course, you are watching the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61 and by iRacing. So make sure to get yourself involved in the giveaway, which is happening at the moment. The link is in the description on Apex Racing TV, and the link is in the chat on iRacing Esports Network if you want to be in with a chance of winning an FGT Lite or an FGT sim rig, as Rob Moore has now gone off the road as well. So the man who's running that suspension damage, it looks like, on the rear for him. As now we look at this battle in the middle right now. Shane Rabbit at the lead of this train. Peter McCann side by side with De Soswa as they head down to the blind crest. Shane is trying everything to keep them behind De Soswa on the outside line. Can he keep him front? He keeps in front of McCann. But now Shane Rabbit goes off the road, just outbreaks himself into the blind crest and falls behind those two right now. So De Soswa still in front as well. Jordan Kelly again losing the car, and De Soswa goes through again. It seems, guys, it's really punishing, even though there's lots of runoff, Sam. If you break yourself, the grass is completely like ice.
It is, and it's sloped as well. It's sloped downhill, so you kind of slide away from the circuit. Absolutely so tricky. It's interesting as well to just see these cars react. We're kind of used to the Formula 3 cars we've had for a couple of years on iRacing, and they really grip to the surface. I mean, it's rare that you see them slide. With these cars, they got a little bit less downforce, and so they just slide on the corner entry. If they're deep on the brakes, then you'll just see them lose adhesion to the circuit and kind of slide off, and that's what I've seen a couple of times. Really nice to see the drivers kind of have to wrestle with these cars a little bit more, kind of get right to the limit of the grip. And yeah, it's making for some spectacular racing. And also, of course, this part of the circuit totally flat up, but get a little bit of a tow. Now the number 12 of McCann catching up to his VRA teammates of Jordan Kelly. As Kelly, apologies, that's McCann this time who makes a mistake. I mean, I don't think we've seen this many mistakes all season long around the circuit. This is kind of what we expected, to be fair, from this track, but it just shows the difficulty.
It's really testing the drivers right at the moment. So Shane Rabbit going to try and capitalise on that, and he slipstreams past Peter McCann into 12th place. Now, currently, this would be nice for, of course, McManus, who was involved in that lap 1 incident with Meredith. But McManus currently on reverse grid pole, which would really help him in his endeavours in the feature race. And let's see, he's now just behind. That is the leader, actually. He's behind Keith Dempsey, and he's actually keeping tabs. That's a car spun right there. It looks like, I think that's Michael Devaney again. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is Michael Devaney down in 18th. It's gone from bad to worse. Michael Devaney gets lapped by Oisin Walsh. But McManus, actually, he's kind of keeping tabs with the leader, kind of just showing I would be here if I had not had that accident. And you can kind of see, even just visually, Mangan is kind of closing in, and I reckon McManus could kind of help him here, because he'll be able to get the toe off McManus and maybe drag himself up a little bit. If he can gain a couple of tenths, he's not quite in the draft yet. If he can gain a couple more tenths, he'll be in that draft and possibly could be a threat to Dempsey in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, he started all of a sudden to gain on the race leader. A couple of purple sectors recently. Has there been an issue for Cooper somewhere? There was some red on the timing screen which caught the corner of my eye. I think Cooper may have lost a place there. But yeah, Mangan's all of a sudden gaining, and it's down to 1.2 seconds now. You're right about the toe. If he gets a draft down the pit straight, that's easily another quarter of a second out of the margin. As we see from the shoulder cam, him trying to catch up here. So we'll gain a few more tenths. It goes from 1.2 seconds down to 1.1 second. Now this is where he needs McManus to just let him on by, just lift off the throttle, and that's what he does. He has got to go offline slightly, but that still helps him on the most part. Down to 1 second now. And once you get into the draft round this place, you can really suck up to your rival. 2 laps to go, and this one isn't over as Mangan has a big slide. That just shows how hard he's pushing.
He's wrestling this thing around here. This is a great shot that we have on board, chasing after Keith Dempsey. Head again sideways on the exit, and trying to get through the S's right here, using all of the curb, slamming those curbs in these cars. He's still not quite in the draft. He kind of be a little bit closer than this, but certainly Keith Dempsey has got a target on his back right now. it's interesting. No, Mangan has not won a race at all this season, so it'd be nice to get one under his belts. Keith Dempsey trying to get his second using all of the road right there. Oscar Mangan on a massive push right here to get up to the lead of this race if he possibly can. He's just trying to get in the draft range, but Dempsey is just matching him 10th after 10th. It's just really impossible nearly to gain any time on him. But we've got one lap to go crossing the line next time. And of course, remember, these guys will be starting further down the grid, 15th and 14th on the grid respectively. Now up to the blind crest. Dempsey still holding on very nicely here to this lead, but Mangan is bringing it down. You can kind of see it down to 8/10 of a second now as he gets on the exit. It's getting interesting now. He's really pushing. It's just, that car is all over the place, using all of the curb, and he's really got some trust in this car. Now he's in draft range as they come across the line to begin the final lap of heat number 1, heading into the feature next time. Oscar Mangan on the chase, and he's in draft range. He needs to keep himself in this range as they head to the back straight right now. This is going to be interesting. Kind of see he took another 4/10 of a second out of him that lap, so it's a great drive so far from Mangan. Can he possibly catch up to Keith Dempsey? Can he pass Keith Dempsey? That's another thing. Remember what happened in Laguna Seca when he tried to pass him? They came together. So Oisin Walsh is going to be hoping that happens, because he's 5 seconds behind them, so he needs them to have a kind of a big off. But Mangan right now is on a big push. You could see that just the attitude of the car. He's really just making sure he's trying to keep himself in the draft. And you can see they pulled away from McManus, because they pulled 2.3 on McManus already. So here we go, up through the S's. And the next corner after this little section is the hairpin leading on to the back straight, which is the prime overtaking opportunity. It's essentially Mangan's last chance as they come down the hill into the braking zone for the hairpin. Now down to 6/10 of a second. Mangan is really wanting this one now. Onto the power. Mangan needs the run. Has he got the run? He's a long way back right now, but watch, the draft will help him. But I don't know if he's going to be quite close enough to make a move right here. He's 6/10 behind him. The draft not quite in right now. He's starting to close in now, but he's going to reach the end of the straight before he's able to make any sort of move right here. I think Dempsey might just have enough right here as they head into the last sector. Mangan, he's close, but he's not quite close enough, and he's not going to try anything in these last couple of corners. Dempsey, I think, has just done a perfect job here as they head down towards the last corner now, into the left and into the right hander, leading up to the straight. Now, it's not going to be quite over just yet. Dempsey needs to run out of the last corner as they head to the line. I think it's just going to be just enough for Dempsey. He'll cross the line and win heat race number 1. Oscar Mangan right behind him in P2, and Oisin Walsh is going to cross the line for 3rd place. If there was one more lap, Mangan would just wanted one more lap, and he might have just had him. But Rob Moore in a battle with Lawrence de Soswa at the moment as well. De Soswa trying to get up to 9th place, trying to hold on to a top 10 finish as well. And through the last corner, he is going to be able to do that. Rob Moore cross the line for 9th place. Lawrence de Soswa 10th. Jordan Kelly will come behind. And then Shane Rabbit, Rob Barble, Peter McCann and Brian McManus will be the front row for the reverse grid race. But Mangan, the way, one more lap, and I would have had him, but he most certainly would have had he had one more lap.
Yeah, I think so. And even on the run to the line, he wasn't far off, was he? He just needed to be a couple of tenths closer going on to that last lap. Little bit worrying as well for the race winner for Keith to have those slightly slower end to the race. He was so quick at the start, but then his pace seemed to deteriorate with a longer feature race. That he could be in trouble by the end of the event. So he's got to be careful, and maybe we'll need to make some changes or changes to his driving style to preserve those tires a bit better.
Here's your Heat 1 results. Keith Dempsey ahead of Oscar Mangan by just 3/10 across the line. Oisin Walsh P3, Dave Maguire P4, Jason Cooper, Tony Stack, Valentinas Marchenkovas, Arias Imantes, Rob Moore and Lawrence de Soswa with an outside there. Jordan Kelly, Shane Rabbit, Rob Barble, and your front row for the feature race is Peter McCann and Brian McManus. Nicky Meredith behind 16th, Michael Devaney, Dara Daly, and then we'll, of course, have the last non-finisher in 19th place. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with you very shortly for the feature race.
Enjoying what you're watching and want to become the next sim racing star? Here at digitalmotorsports.com, not only can we supply all the parts, but we can custom build your dream simulator rig from start to finish. Just like we have done for world famous drivers like rally legend Craig Breen, drift superstars James Dean and Conor Shanahan. We can build, deliver and set up your full custom simulator rig in your home and offer round-the-clock support to keep you racing to the top. To find out more, visit digitalmotorsports.com. Enjoying what you're watching and want to become the next?
You're very welcome back to the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Championship, sponsored by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61 and by iRacing. Don't forget to enter the giveaway for the 2 Next Level Racing sim rigs, which will be given away on the 20th of August live. So make sure to get yourself in with a chance of winning that. They're great prizes. And if you have been wanting to get involved in sim racing but don't have the equipment, then certainly a sim rig will be of benefit to you as well. But we're heading to the feature race very shortly. Top 15 will be inverted as per usual. So we'll have Brian McManus and Peter McCann of VRA Racing front row, and Brian McManus, of course, involved in the lap 1 crash with Nicky Meredith. He's got a chance to redeem himself and possibly to keep the streak alive that we have of the winners of the feature races. We've had 4 different feature race winners this season so far. Let's see if we can keep it up. But of course, the same winner has been already broken with Jordan Kelly last time out in Laguna Seca, and Keith Dempsey as well getting his second. This is his first heat race win. But let's have a look at the grid then for this race. Round 4 of the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing. Brian McManus on the pole, Peter McCann next to him, Rob Barwell, Shane Rabbit, Jordan Kelly, Lawrence Susazwa, Rob Moore, Arias Yamantas, Valentinas Marchenkovic, and Tony Stack. Then the top 5 further down: Jason Cooper, Dave McGuire, Oisin Walsh, Oscar Mangan, and Keith Dempsey. And watch out for Nicky Meredith, Michael Devaney. They've got a point to prove. And then Dara Daly and Richard Faulkner at the very back of this 19-car grid for this 4th round of the championship. Can we see another new winner? Let's wait and see as we wait for the drivers to ready. We're just waiting for Dara Daly to get on the grid. And here we go then. The lights are going to illuminate in front of the drivers for the 4th round of the championship here at Virginia. Let's see who's going to get going. McManus away, good start from him. McCann, not a great start now. Rob Barwell immediately goes up into the inside. Late reactions from McCann, 3 abreast already in the background as they head towards turn 1. It's McManus from Barwell who's going to have a go for the lead on the inside as they head towards turn 1, but not quite alongside. McCann down to 3rd, Shane Rabbit to 4th, Yamantas, Marchenkovic, Moore, Kelly. What's happened further down? There's been a couple of cars off. It looks like Jason Cooper facing the wrong way in turn 1. Nicky Meredith involved as well. That's another car. Dave McGuire also involved as well. Richard Faulkner makes his way through. Looking all good for those guys, but great start again from Keith Dempsey into 11th. He slots ahead of DeSalzwa, and Mangan has now fallen behind as well. Now Oisin Walsh is going to have to try and fend off Dempsey right here as they now try to fight their way through to the front of the field already. They need to get a move on board with Keith Dempsey, the championship leader, behind Oisin Walsh, and now Walsh is going to go for the move on the inside of the S's. Tony Stack is going to leave the ring. Is Dempsey going to try and follow through? He's on the curb. Has he got through? Yes, he has. That was bravery of next level stuff right there, and he gets through, and he had to try these on the grass though to come down the hill, but he manages to somehow hold on edge of your seats. Oh, massive crash involving multiple cars. Rob Moore, Marchenkovic, and somebody else. Well, Jordan Kelly, I think. Jordan Kelly missing the front wing, and lap 1 instance already happening right here. And as a result, let's have a quick look at this again as they head into it. Just a touch in the rear from Jordan Kelly. Marchenkovic goes around and Rob Moore gets caught up in it.
That move
looks like Rob Moore escaped with minor damage.
Yeah. That I think Moore has he lost his front wing right there, or will he be able to continue? Well, yeah, it looks as though he will just be able to continue on his way. But yeah, that move from Keith Dempsey in America, absolutely craziness. We saw it from an angle that it wasn't totally clear his visibility, but I doubt you could see it a whole lot himself when he went into turn 1. So we're for 4th place. Shane Rabbit and Arias Yamantas at the moment. Yamantas already up 3 places, and that's what I was talking about earlier on. The grip just slightly running away from the drivers under braking, and Yamantas up into 4th place. Believe he did get a podium at Brands Hatch last season. and he's trying to do the same thing. Already Keith Dempsey about a second behind these guys, and Keith Dempsey only 5 seconds off the lead, less than that, 5 seconds, less than 5 seconds off the lead. But Walsh and Mangan still going with him. Mangan fastest first sector of anyone on this lap. So Dempsey has got to be absolutely rapid in order to keep a car between him and the car number 99.
Yeah, and as well, Oisin Walsh not letting go of the back of Keith Dempsey. Walsh let him through on the front straight as they head towards turn 1, but Oisin Walsh is going to use Keith Dempsey to his advantage, I think, trying to drag himself up through the field. But yeah, Yamantas did get a podium earlier on in the season. Last time he has to check up on the exit as Dempsey as he falls in behind. Shane Rabbit already fighting for the top 5, but this is going to be interesting. Dempsey, Walsh and Mangan together now trying to fight for the top 5 positions. Dempsey in the slipstream of Shane Rabbit right here, but Rabbit will also have the toe of Yamantas ahead of him. Does Dempsey go for anything here? It's the blind crest coming in, and he's going to have to back out of something here. Moves to the inside, he's going to have a go on the inside, and Bravery touches wheels, but somehow gets it done. What's a move again from Keith Dempsey, not messing around. Walsh follows him through, Mangan follows him through. I tell you what, Shane Rabbit did not see that one coming.
Little bit of netcode, but I think they were going to hit them hit anyway, and they were both very lucky to get away with so little damage. Dempsey could be under big pressure though from Oisin Walsh, car number 1. I think Walsh just backed out of that one, in fact, so didn't want to overtake. However, if he doesn't overtake Dempsey, then it's only a matter of time till Mangan overtakes him, so he's got to really think about that one. These guys now 5 seconds behind, so even during the traffic, even though they're making overtakes, they're still maintaining the gap to Brian McManus, which is good signs for them to be able to get to the front by the end.
Yeah, exactly. So as well, I think Walsh and Mangan are kind of hanging back because they're using Dempsey as the kind of the door opener to get through. So if they can keep with him, they'll be able to find the space to get through. But now Dempsey, his next target is Arias Yamantas, the Lithuanian, and see if he can get through past him here. He's on his tail as they run through the S's down towards the hairpin to the back straight. Is he going to try anything? He's going to throw one up the inside. Yamantas already wise to it, defends the inside line as they head down towards the hairpin. Is he going to throw one up the inside here? No, he's going to hang back. Gets a little bit loose on the entry. Let's see, as he should be able to get something done here as they head down the back straight here, but they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down as Peter McCann's also going to get involved or dropped into this one as well as Yamantas gets the toe off him as they head down here. This is fantastic racing right here. The 3 contenders all together right here. McCann defending against Yamantas. This might get dicey. Yamantas going to try it on the outside line. Is Dempsey going to try and find some space? The door's been opened for him by the Lithuanians. They go side by side down the hill. Dempsey trying to find a Mangan, going to try for a double. He gets past Wall. Does he get past Dempsey? No. But slots in behind Dempsey right there. As off the road goes McCann. And Dempsey going to go past Yamantas as well. Was there contact on the hill? There's damage on the rear for Yamantas. Looks like rear suspension damage for him. As I think now the tries to get back on the road. McCann gets back going again, thankfully. But looks like damage for the Lithuanian of Yamantas. As they head down here now, this is going to get interesting, Sam, because Dempsey, Mangan and Walsh now have got to try and make up time. But now they're going to start battling with each other.
Yeah, I think they should be able to catch up to the race leaders anyway. They need to gain by, I think, about 0.4 of a second a lap. They should have time to catch up, but Mangan will desperately want to pass Dempsey. I think there is a little bit of a rivalry now between these two, and Mangan was so desperate to just get within half a second of Dempsey in race 1 so he could get the draft and get past his rival. Finally, he's got that opportunity, although a couple of poor corners, and he's just dropped slightly back behind them. Rabbit and Yamantas going sideways through the S's, and also taking advantage of that was Devaney. Great to see Michael back up there. He moves up into 7th place as Yamantas has another off, and he's quickly gone from 4th position down into 8th.
Yeah, that's how quickly it can go wrong as they head down the back straight here. Lawrence de Stosberg going to try and make up a place as well. Yamantas gives him a slight squeeze to the grass, but he should be able to slipstream through no problem. Looks like front wing damage on for Yamantas anyway. So he's going to struggle to hang on to that. In the background as well, McCann going to lose a spot to Nicky Meredith, who's going to slot into the top 10 spots right here. So looks like everybody's still running apart from Dave Maguire, who's in the pit lane very close as Meredith almost touches the rear of Yamantas into the braking zone of that really, really tight blind crest entry. But still at the moment, it's still McManus who leads this race. Rob Barble still in P2. Meredith finds the gap again. Oh no! Big contact in the background. Yamantas now definitely has rear damage as they come down there, and that's going to be him surely out of this race. and that was not ideal for him. But a bit of an unusual one there, because it happened earlier, and Yamanta seems to always lose it on the rear coming through that last corner, but twitching all around the place, and unfortunately that's him out of this race and into the pit lane with damage. But Keith Dempsey and these guys are on a massive charge. They're 2.7 back from Rob Barable, who's in second place, and they're 5.4 behind McManus, and McManus needs to be banging in consistent lap times, because ideally he wants these guys to catch him in the very last sector of the last lap, where there's no opportunity for these guys to get through. But I wonder who's going to be in front of any of these guys at the end, because we know Mangan desperately wants to beat Dempsey, and Usheen Walsh is kind of just the dark horse hanging in here. We know he's got the pace. He won in Phoenix, so don't count him out.
No, yeah, he could certainly still take this race win. Could Osheen, and he's comfortably keeping up with the couple of guys ahead. Will Mangan go for a move here on Dempsey? I think it's very wise for Mangan to get ahead. You know, he can then control the pace, and that's what he's going to try to do down the inside into the crest. And now you don't want to half commit to a move. That's just going to hold these guys up. He's got to really commit to an overtake if he goes for it, but this is a good range for him now. It's tricky to defend down into turn 1. It's a very long pit straight or pit curve that we have around this circuit, and yeah, Mangan needs to go for this one. They're about half a second a lap faster than the lead, but McManus is a 42.2. That is a massive lap time, only a tenth faster for these guys on that last lap as Dempsey goes defensive, and this is hurting their chances at the moment. Managed to hold off his rival into turn 1, but back comes the 99 again, gets the outside, but there's not much of an overtaking opportunity into the left hand. You kind of got to wait now until the back straight, until the other pit, in order to go for a move. But this is yeah, they're still about 5 seconds off the lead. So yeah, they need more like 0.6 of a second now at this point.
Yeah, Dempsey is also kind of caught up to Rob Barable. That's the car who's going through the S's at the moment, just ahead of this 3-car train. So now Dempsey might have a little bit of a toe off Barable as well, but they've got to fight for position. Rob Barable is not going to let these guys through easily. He's going to fight to try and hold on to this, but this is fantastic. These guys have been nose to tail for the entire race so far. Mangan desperately trying for that first win. Usheen Walsh trying to grab his second. Keith trying to grab his second as well. So Mangan is the only one that can keep the streak alive. But of course, McManus still out in the lead. McManus has not won for a long time. Is Mangan going to try it now, or is Dempsey now? This is going to be a crucial one for him. Does he get past Barable into the break zone? He's not quite close to Mangan. Close, but no cigar just yet as they come into the blind crest. Dempsey defends. Walsh is just hanging back right now, just hoping that these guys come together in front of him. Down into the last corner right now. Huge speed carried down into the last corner right here. Mangan got very close, but now surely a chance that Dempsey defends the inside. Mangan is alongside. This could be the move for the eventual race lead. Mangan next to him. Walsh is going to try and hang back here, but Dempsey has the inside line for turn 1, so he should be able to try and hold on to this one. Mangan has to back off once again into the break zone. Dempsey defends it nicely and defends the run out by Mangan as well. Holds the middle of the road and keeps him behind once again, but Mangan looks like he has the pace advantage over Keith. Keith just clouting the curb a little bit there. Mangan just showing himself in the race. He desperately wants to get past right here as they try and close up to the lead. The leader is gaining time on them. He's 6 seconds clear at the moment, is Brian McManus. These guys need to clear Rob Barable quite quickly, because now Dempsey's stuck behind Barable and he needs to make a move quickly into the S's. Barable, does he move over and back out of it? No. Dempsey's going to go side by side through the S's and he slots in front of Barable, and Mangan gets left out. Mangan's got to try and get through quickly here, but sure, they're coming up to the back straight surely closely now, so he might be able to get a run through here. But now already Dempsey is clear and Mangan needs to clear Barable very quickly to keep himself in touching distance of Dempsey. But a crucial move from Dempsey now, and he's built a small little bit, he's got a little bit of breathing space now over Mangan, and Mangan is now going to try and get through past Rob Barable, which is going to be no easy feat just yet for him. Up to the blind crest. Barable is within his rights to fight, of course. What does Mangan do? Does he move to the outside? He's going to have to commit to this one around the outside line. Does he get it stopped? Oh, it's going to be very close. They make contact. Mangan and Dempsey together. Mangan leads. But somehow Dempsey managed to hang on to that car. Barable, they made it 3 abreast into the blind crest. Mangan into the provisional lead of this race. Walsh behind. Somehow Dempsey is still alive after that contact. He's still in with a shot right here. Mangan into second, Walsh to third, and Dempsey to fourth. Now the chase begins.
Absolutely incredible. Went 3 wide, and it just seemed like Mang was too late on the brakes. I think they all missed their braking zone in the end. They were so desperate to get ahead of one another. I think every single one of them was all sliding into that corner. I think, yeah, none more so than Mangan. But if anything, it looked like the initial contact occurred between Barable and Dempsey there. So not sure quite who's to blame. Mangan though, 6.6 off the lead. I mean, now he needs a second lap. It went from half a second to 6/10 to a second now because they've lost another second that last time round. Mangan needs mid 41s, which is qualifying pace in order to catch up. Is Dempsey within slipstream range at the moment on these guys? It seems like he's just over a second behind. Slipstream kicks in at about 1.2 seconds, although it is very weak from that far back. A couple of good laps here for Mangan. He could break the draft to Dempsey, and that would make the podium positions much easier.
Oh,
Dempsey spins it round now. I don't know if that's damage on the car. I think he was just pushing too hard, dipped a wheel onto the grass. And Keith Dempsey, and he's not even getting back going now. He does. I thought he may have just given up on the whole race there. And he drops a few places. He looks on course to challenge for the race when it's going to be faster than that. In fact, he's going to do spectacularly well to get back up to fifth.
That's a very rare mistake. We never see a spin from Keith Dempsey of his own accord, but he's now managed to get back on. Oh, here we go. 3 abreast down towards the blind crest. Richard Faulkner, Michael Devaney, and Shane Rabbit, who now gets left out to dry behind. Now side by side between Faulkner and Devaney. Devaney manages to come out in front. Oh, contact behind between Rabbit and Faulkner. They're going to become attached as they come down the hill, and they're still attached as they come down the hill. What on earth are we watching right now? These cars are merged, and they've become one on board with Shane Rabbit. What on earth is this? Oh, and he gets deposited into the gravel. Richard Faulkner gets rid of him eventually. I think that was a little bit of punishment from Richard Faulkner. He making sure that Rabbit knows that he's not happy with him.
Well done to Sam Kume there for switching on the onboard. That was fantastic.
Like Sam.
Fantastic to see. No, that's crazy. iRacing Esports Network by iRacing, everyone. Great product. No, that happens a little bit. Hasn't happened too much this season. At least I have improved it. But yeah, there's still a bit of room for improvement on that front. 6.4 to the lead. He did gain a bit the bang in there, but McManus besides him making a mistake. He's got this one in the bag at this point. They just don't have the pace, Mangan and Walsh, to catch up. However, now that it's just these two, they've got 7.5 seconds to the car behind. Walsh can afford to be a bit more aggressive. He can afford to try to get track position now and not worry about the drivers behind. This is a good opportunity. It looks like he might go for it.
Oh, Oisin Walsh versus Oscar Mangan down towards the blind crest. Oisin Walsh has been kind of biding his time for a little while here as they come through. Is he going to commit to this move? No, he backs out. He's just letting him know there, but they're not doing enough to catch McManus at this point. Brian McManus has led every single lap of this race and is on course for his first win in a long, long time. You can see they're only taking a 10th out. They need a second. They need 1.1 rather than 0.1. McManus is doing an excellent job so far. Lap 10 of 15 and sets the fastest lap of the race. So he's on a big charge right there. Brian McManus, he's not even in the toe of anybody. That's impressive. He's faster than the guys behind him, and he's proving that the lap 1 incident in the first race of the day was just a mishap. But Brian McManus has not won, I believe, since I think it was the minis at Mondello. I think it was the special event in Mondello, but hasn't won an actual official championship race as far as I can remember. Of course, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this could be, he's on course for his first win in digital motorsports, full stop, just as Jordan Kelly was as he comes through. But he's got another 5 laps to go. Mangan is 6.6 behind, so he still can't afford to make any mistakes because these guys will pick it up very quickly. But Mangan in second, Walsh third, Rob Barble still holding on in fourth. Keith Dempsey's dropped to 10th, and that's the lowest we've ever seen him, really, as they carry on their way. Peter McCann to fifth, Lawrence Salzwell, Tony Stack, Michael Devaney, and Nicky Meredith, and Keith Dempsey. But now Walsh is going to try again. It was a mistake from Mangan on the exit, and is he just going to move over and let him through? I think he does. So Oisin Walsh slots into second place right now, and Mangan now going to just have a go in the draft, see what lap times they can do, because ideally you don't want to be the car behind on the back straight heading into the final lap if you're that close behind, because it can end very badly. But let's see if Oisin Walsh can build a gap now. He seems to have the pace over Mangan as they head through down the hill to begin lap 11 of 15. McManus is 7 seconds ahead of Mangan. He's about 6.5 ahead of Oisin Walsh, and 42.5 from McManus. Let's have a look at the lap time from Oisin Walsh. It'll be a 42.1, 42.8 from Mangan as he let him through, so definitely not enough. But certainly the battle we're going to keep watching is the battle between these two right here, Oisin Walsh and Oscar Mangan for second place. The battle for second. Rob Barber has no feet on this. This is a great battle between Lawrence de Soswa and Peter McCann. They're going at it for a top 5 finish right here, which would be a great result for either of them as they head through now. McCann trying to find the space on the inside, just gets the door shutting them there on the exit. And these guys are going to fight out. They can't afford to fight too much though, because Tony Stack is 2.6 behind. He might be able to catch up to them. But a great little scrap for top 5, great scrap for second. But I think at the moment it's pretty clear who's going to win this race. Brian McManus.
Yeah, you would have not necessarily predicted that, even though he started from pole, of course. But his qualifying pace wasn't spectacular. I think it was about a second off the pace in qualifying. But this is kind of what he had hidden all the time. McCann just getting past De Soswa all the way for 6th and 7th. In fact, I think they've both been taken by... Oh, apologies, no, that's Meredith time back to the pit. Messing up our timing screens. Showing for Nicky Meredith once again. A DNF for him as here comes Mangan back past Walsh, who doesn't fight it. I think Mangan does have a slight pace advantage, but I think Walsh would quite happily take the points. Remember, Mangan pretty much out of the championship with how crazy the races have been this season. I'm hesitant to say that because a run of races and a couple of DNFs for Dempsey, and maybe he could come back into it. But certainly at the moment, it looks like he's not in the battle, so he will be willing to throw caution to the wind, whereas Walsh still has a decent chance himself. So he'd want to consolidate this podium. 41.4, a second faster that time. Too many laps late, to be fair. McManus actually just dropping off the pace recently. He's dropping back into the mid-42s after peaking in the 41s. So he knows that he's got this one all but in the bag and just backing off slightly. But this Mangan will get that fast lap. I'm not sure if that's worth any bonus points, but if it is, it looks like they'll keep going his way.
So I don't think it is, unfortunately, for Mangan, so he's not going to have any points. Just the honour of that. But even with the terrible day for Keith Dempsey, I think he is definitely going to hold on to the championship lead. It'll be a nice gain for Oisin Walsh out of all this. There is Keith Dempsey in a very lowly 9th place as a car spins in front of him. Michael Devaney, who's having a really bad day at the office. And behind him, Rob Moore slots in front as well. Rob Moore is going to take second in the title now, actually. So essentially, Keith and Rob are championship rivals on track right now, even if the gap is quite large between them. It's about 40 points between them at the moment, and Keith has already outscored Rob in this race already. And again, we're going to have another swap position. Walsh is going to slot back in front again on the back straight, and I think if they're going to keep doing that every lap, then I wonder who's going to be quite close to the finish between these two. They're having a good old fight, not fighting each other on the straights. I tell you, the same thing is happening for P5 because the Soswa again slots in front of McCann as they fight for 5th place, top 5 finish, and their best result in the championship so far. Lap 13 of 15, 3 to go. Gap is 5.7 seconds to McManus. Oisin Walsh across the line. What does his lap time shape up? 1:42.0. It's half a second, so he needs. It's not going to be possible. He needs way more than a second a lap to catch up. He needs 2 seconds a lap to catch McManus. And what Mangan having a little look on Walsh right now, starting to heat up just a tad in this final couple of stages of this race, final couple of laps. But these guys fighting it out for 2nd place as they continue on there. Don't forget as well, this is the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61 and by iRacing. Make sure to enter yourself into the giveaway for the 2 sim rigs, 2 Next Level Racing sim rigs. The link is in the chat if you're watching on the iRacing Esports Network. And if you're watching on Apex Racing TV, then check the description underneath the stream to get the giveaway link. Make sure to, of course, subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network and to Apex Racing TV to keep up to date with all the action from the digitalmotorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup. So, on to lap 13 of 15. Mangan falling just a tiny bit behind on the straight right here. He's probably not going to be able to make a move past Walsh on this lap, but I think he might be one to be the one behind Walsh on the final lap, because definitely it's going to get dicey between these two into the last couple of corners. On to lap 14, but Brian McManus on his way surprise victory. A long time coming, and a first championship win for him as well. It'll be one to remember for him. And I think, Sam, it's what we all want. He's keeping the winning streak of feature race winners alive.
It'd be pretty remarkable if we could have, I think it's 6 rounds this championship. We could have 6 out of 6 would be, yeah, mind-blowing. The unpredictability shows the level of competition in this series. It's one of the most competitive series I think we broadcast on Apex Racing TV and on the iRacing esports network, because everyone's just so evenly matched. Everyone does make a few mistakes, especially in this car. We've seen the drivers really struggle with the single seaters. Actually, there's a great battle with De Soswa and McCann. I mean, to be fair, this is not that important. Of course, it's just track position, but they keep on coming back at one another. But of course, we've had the Audi RS3 a couple of seasons ago, and we had the GT4s last season. Everyone just seemed so apt in those. There was very few mistakes being made. We had pretty consistent finishes, and then we jump into these American circuits, found in these single-seater cars, and all of a sudden it's a completely different ball game. We've seen plenty of errors from the drivers, but it's been a whole lot more entertaining than what we've seen in the past. And yeah, at the moment, yeah, McManus, as you say, gonna take another race victory as Marcinkovas comes out of the pits. He's still P11, still some points. Jason Cooper, unfortunately, back to the pit. Cooper's at a really good lap time a couple of moments ago. I saw he did a 42.0, which is matching the race leaders. However, soon after that, he seemed to maybe crash. So that's a shame for him. He'll drop down to 13th and might get even a little bit worse for him as Shane Rabbit unlaps himself against him as well.
Here we go, final lap, and let's see who's going to resolve this one between Walsh and Mangan as they come across the line to begin the final lap. McManus is out in the lead by 4.9 seconds, and these guys have taken a good chunk out of him that time with 41.8 personal best for Sheen Walsh, 41.7 for Mangan behind. They're lapping pretty quickly, but it's not enough at the moment to catch McManus unless there's a catastrophic error from our race leader that he's going to secure that win. But the battle for second is certainly not over. They're fighting for the second spot on the podium, but they're pretty secure in their podium slots anyway. They're 15 seconds ahead of fourth place Rob Barble, who's on for his best result. And of course, we're going to keep an eye on that battle for fifth as well, because those guys are fighting for their best finish as well, McCann and De Soswa. But now, heading on to up through the S's on the uphill section into the hairpin, Mangan is right on the back of Oisin Walsh, almost touching him as he entered up through the S's, and just backed out of it at the right moment to not send Oisin Walsh to a spin. Needs the run out of this corner, and surely he's right behind him. If he was this close behind Dempsey last time, he surely would have got him. But now it's the final opportunity for Mangan to make his way through to get onto the second spot on the podium. Moves to the inside. There's not a whole lot that Oisin Walsh can do about this as he comes side by side now, heading up to the braking zone for the blind crest. Mangan is a touch ahead. Walsh is going to fight it though as he heads round the outside, side by side into the blind crest. Walsh holds the inside. Mangan trying to hang it around the outside. He's not quite close enough to the last corner though. Brian McManus, how long has he been waiting for a win? He comes to the line and keeps the streak alive. Brian McManus is a winner in Digital Motorsports at last, and to the line between Walsh and Mangan, very close. Who's going to get it side by side? Walsh by the closest margin, 0.06 across the line. Walsh gets it, and the battle between McCann and De Soswa is also going to go to the line. Rob Barble gets a fantastic fourth place as well. We're going to keep an eye on this one though. McCann versus De Soswa, they're in their best finishing positions anyway, but now this is going to be very close. De Soswa's going to try for it as they come to the line. He's going to try and find the space side by side of the line. McCann might just have this by just the smallest margin as they head down towards the finish line. McCann just pips De Soswa, blocked off the entry on the inside line very nicely. McCann fifth, De Soswa in sixth, Pony Stack seventh, and a very rare but surprising sight, Keith Dempsey in eighth, Rob Moore ninth, and Michael Devaney will finish in 10th place. But it's a day to remember for Brian McManus because he's been a long time waiting for that elusive win. Jordan Kelly got it earlier in the year, and finally McManus has also got it as well. So it's been a great championship so far, Sam, for guys who haven't won at all and suddenly securing their first wins.
It was the perfect storm, wasn't it? I mean, he had that retirement in race one, turned out to be a silver lining because, yeah, got that pole position for race one. A couple of drivers behind him kind of had incidents in the first few laps, the other quick drivers near him. And then, of course, Mangan and Dempsey starting from 14th and 15th, pretty much the first that they could do, and they had so much to work to do. However, it's shocking how McManus hasn't won a race. I think I've seen him get a multitude of podiums in the past. I think that's probably the first of many. He will be looking for a couple more, I reckon, in the closing stages of the season.
Here's your official race results. Brian McManus for VRA Racing finally on the top step after a long drought. Oisin Walsh by 500ths of a second just keeps Oscar Mangan behind him. Rob Barble gets a great 4th place. Peter McCann as well with a very close finish between himself and Lawrence Oswald. They had a fantastic battle. Well done to those guys. Tony Stack in 7th. Rob Moore in 8th place. And Keith Dempsey in 9th. Valentinas Marchenkovic, Arias Diamantes, Michael Devaney, Jason Cooper, Shane Rabbit, and then a slew of non-finishes. Nicky Meredith, Richard Faulkner, Jordan Kelly, unfortunately, a non-finish. Dave McGuire, a non-finish. And Dara Daly, a non-starter in this one. But another fantastic race to add to the tally. And another new winner that we can add to the roster. It's Brian McManus to add to the list. So it's been Jordan Kelly, it's been Keith Dempsey, of course, and now today it's been Brian McManus. And of course, as well, I believe we're also going to hear from a few of the Pro-Am drivers. Of course, this is the Pro tier, so there's 2 tiers, the Pro tier and the Pro-Am, which was also going on at the time, so we might be hearing from those guys, but I think we would all want to be hearing from our race winner in the Pro Series, if we can possibly grab him. But Virginia, Sam, did not disappoint. Technical track, plenty of mistakes, but actually quite a lot of finishers, surprisingly.
Yeah, there's some runoff around this space, like we were talking before. So you don't expect too many kind of wheels to fall off the cars. And maybe that was slightly evident in the feature race. Of course, Dempsey, despite his spin, managing to get that car to the line. But yeah, still a slightly higher attrition rate than what we usually see. And yeah, a couple more rounds to go. I think that was the circuit, though, that the drivers will be most concerned about going. I mean, we have Phoenix earlier on in the season. We've now had Virginia. I think compared to that, anywhere else looks pretty easy for these guys. So should be a bit more comfortable towards the end of the season.
Yeah, so I think we might be able to grab a quick word with our 2nd place finisher, Oisin Walsh. We're just going to grab him in for a quick word. Oisin, welcome to the commentary box once again. Very, very close finish at the end right there between yourself and Oscar Mann. You guys had a great fight, but congratulations on the 2nd. Must be delighted.
Yeah, after blowing the start in race 1, really, it was kind of handy to pull back. I was hoping I could catch back up to Oscar and Keith in the first race, or that they'd have some incident or something that would just benefit me, but that didn't happen, and I drove pretty terribly, really. It was very inconsistent. Then race 2, start as usual, it's going to be sketchy. It was, and then I let Keith through in the back straight in lap 1, and then just followed him through. Eventually I let Oscar through, and then I was basically just going to sit behind those two and kind of expected to get pulled through the field with them. A couple more contacts than I expected between them or cars in front or whatever, but I didn't get caught up in anything, so I'm not going to complain. It would have been nice to get Brian. I don't know if we could. I don't know even if we hadn't had a few kerfuffles, if there would have been enough time if we were quick enough, but it would have been nicer to get a better try. But I'm not gonna complain at 2nd, although I would like better.
How hard was it to keep yourself controlled in the slipstream chain? Because obviously the draft is extremely effective down the back straight. You're involved in that slipstream chain for many, many laps behind Keith and Oscar. How hard was it to just keep yourself controlled and keep yourself back to avoid silly incidents?
I was just kind of sitting. You kind of just end up being about 0.4, 0.5 back, and it tends to be harder if you're not 2nd in line to get right up to the bumper of whoever's in front. So it's not really that bad. I'd like if I could drop back further, but obviously if I was the 2nd back and still getting the slipstream, I'd probably be here complaining about that instead. So it was just kind of hoping that I didn't get caught in it and just basically being ready for it. whenever they went side by side, just brake a bit early and hope they don't hit each other, or do, but just don't hit me.
Lastly, Oisin, Watkins Glen coming up next. Obviously, I think it's a track that a lot of drivers are familiar with, so are you confident heading to that one?
I mean, I'd say I'll be just about the same on pace as I usually am. Maybe like a tenth or two off, but that's always enough to stick with it, with the slipstream. So hopefully I'll be in the fight. I'd like to think I'll have the pace to be in the fight for the win. It's just a matter of not making mistakes and not getting caught up in that.
Oisin Walsh, thanks a million for joining us. Great race today, and we'll see you in Watkins Glen.
All right, thanks.
So I believe we actually have a mountain of drivers waiting for us, and we don't exactly know who to pick. So Sam, it's obviously your interview next. So I think you get the pick of the bunch. Who do you want?
I think I'll have a chat with Keith Dempsey because he did manage to take the race 1 victory and then 9th place in race 2. Congratulations, Keith, on that race 1 win. Awesome qualifying, great start, but looked like Oscar was pushing you pretty hard near the end.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there in race 2. Had a good start. Only had a great start initially, but it probably helped me down to the first corner because it all got a bit tight down there. So got through the first lap and then started picking them off and had good pace. And then Oscar and Oisin followed me through, and looking forward to having a bit of a dice with the lads, to be honest. And then it all went a bit tits up there at the top of the hill. So yeah, a bit unfortunate, but that's racing, I suppose. Nothing I can do about it. I had the pace to probably finish second, maybe. I don't think I could have got Brian. Brian was flying at the front and had a good gap, so would have been happy enough with a second or third, but these things happen.
We saw you go for a mega move on lap 1 in race 2. I think it was through the S's section. Seemed to have more car off the circuit than he did on the circuit. It was a spectacular overtake. Were you thinking about the championship at all there? Because you seemed to be kind of throwing caution to the wind. You weren't leaving anything on the table. It looked like. Were you thinking about like the points game, or were you just thinking?
No, to be honest,
I'm
not really pushed on the championship. The only reason I do this is to have a bit of fun with my friends and have some racing. And yeah, I wasn't really thinking. I just enjoy the reverse grid races. I like the challenge of coming through the field, and I enjoy the kind of strategy and stuff about it. So no, I wasn't really thinking of the championship, but it was close. I think it was Tony Stack coming through the S's. I thought he'd seen me, and then I thought he didn't see me, and that's kind of went for the grass. And thought it was the safest thing for both of us. So no, I enjoyed it, but sure, disappointed obviously race 2, but yeah, not the end of the world.
This circuit divides opinion a lot. Some people love it, some people despise it. What's your opinion of the circuit in this car?
Yeah, I really like it actually. It kind of, I think it generates some good racing because you've got 2 pretty long straights which you can get a good toe, and then the setup is pretty high downforce, so it's good in the middle sector, and then with the high downforce down the straights you can gain a good bit of a toe. So that's kind of why you might have a couple of tenths on people in qualifying and have a bit of a gap, but then in the race, once they're in the toe behind you, they can hang on and get you on the straights. So it leads to good racing usually, but didn't have a good race the second race, but sure, not the end of the world.
No, absolutely not. Congratulations on your race 1 victory. Keith, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
No, thanks to all the lads in Turn 3 Motorsport, all working hard, having a bit of fun together and enjoying our racing. So yeah, thanks very much, and the lads at Apex and stuff doing a great job, yourself and Jack. So thanks very much.
Awesome, thank you very much, Keith. And see you back next week, or 2 weeks time. So
Thanks.
Right, so we've got time for one more, we think. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to grab a quick word with Lawrence de Soswa, because we know how happy he's going to be. Lawrence, what a race from you. Welcome to the interview box. I know we're probably live on stream with you at the moment as well, but you and Peter, my God, what a fight that was. You must be delighted with the top 10.
That was sensational. Yeah, top 10 was my goal. I was actually even talking to Niall earlier. I said top 10 in the pro class because the standard is high and it's getting better and better. People are getting used to the car and all that. I know Peter quite a while now. Since I started my YouTube channel back in August last year, Peter has been a massive supporter of the channel. Both, going on the streams, adminning for me, doing me favors and stuff like that. So when he first started approaching me and he had pace on me, I said, and I even said on my stream, I said, look, he's a good guy. I'm going to let him pass. But if I catch him again, it's no holds barred. And I don't even know, I think we swapped position like at least 6 times, but at times it was twice a lap. It was nuts.
Yeah, it definitely looked like they're coming to the line anyways. But yeah, it's tough competition out there in the pro class. Now, obviously, you're streaming at the same time. So how hard is it as well? You've got to keep your eye on the chat. You've got to keep your eye on the racing. How hard is it to balance that all at the same time?
It's tough, and you know what? Getting the balance right is really difficult. I didn't get it right at Laguna Seca. I made a lot of stupid mistakes, and I had some incidents that I'm just not very proud of. The reason being, I wanted to prove myself in a pro class. The lads were 2 seconds a lap quicker than me, and I couldn't match their pace. I was overdriving the car. I was trying to impress people on the stream, and it just didn't work out. I got like P14, which isn't a bad result on paper, but it was a terrible race for me. So this week, I concentrated on really just getting that consistency down. I've done this track loads in Assetto Corsa. I'm relatively new to iRacing. So consistency was key for me. I could see even when we were practicing, doing practice racing, I was the practice races over the last couple of days, I was positioning, I was getting, 4th place, 3rd place in 10 people grids. So I knew I had decent race pace. So that's what I was banking on. I had a poor qualifying session though, so I qualified P18 and finished P10 in the first race. So it was tough starting from P6 with all the fast boys behind me.
Well, Lawrence, you did a fantastic job today. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thank you to before we let you go?
Yeah, massive shout out to my sponsors, Cube Controls, digitalmotorsports.com have been massive supporters of mine as well, and Cork Credit Unions as well, our stream sponsors, and of course everybody who's a member and a supporter of my channel who financially backs the channel and gets me to do things like this, where I can afford to get a livery done professionally, where I can afford to pay entry fees and buy the nice equipment and all that kind of stuff. So huge shout out to my community especially.
Well, Lawrence, fantastic job today. We really enjoyed that on stream, and hopefully we'll see you back in here shortly next week.
Thanks a million, Jack. Great job.
So that's unfortunately all we have time, because we've run over time. We've had plenty. This is a rare week, Sam. We've had loads of drivers wanted to talk to us, which is a rarity. But yeah, it's been fantastic racing here today at Virginia International Raceway. Never a track that disappoints. We are back for Watkins Glen, I believe, on the 5th of August, if I'm not wrong. It could be next week or in 2 weeks' time. I'll have to double check that. But the next track will be Watkins Glen, and it'll be round 5 of the championship. So it's been fantastic, and we hope that you'll join us then. Thanks a million as well to Sam Fitzpatrick, as always, for joining me in the commentary box, and for Samily for bringing us those fantastic shots of 2 cars merging down the hill. So it's been fantastic. We hope you'll join us again in the next round in Watkins Glen at the exact same time, live on Apex Racing TV and live on the iRacing Esports Network at the exact same time. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you then. Thank you, and good night.
Are you itching to get racing? Whether it's circuit racing, drifting, rallying, or even karting, here at digitalmotorsports.com we run some of the best online leagues in the world. To get involved, visit our website at digitalmotorsports.com and enroll for our next event.